This medicine wheel model, it comes from Lame Deer, Montana. And how I came across it was my daughter, she was at that age, like she didn't like hockey, okay? She played it 1 year, but it just wasn't her thing. But I knew she was artistic. I knew that she liked art and other things. And there were some things I wanted to learn too, and it had to do with the horse. And then I was thinking around here, like, where do I go? Like Sunshine Stables, like I don't even know if they exist anymore. I'm so old school. Do they still exist? See, I don't know, like someplace where you could go learn how to ride horses and be around horses. So I went to my Aunt Blossom's house, and we went there, yeah. And she put us on a couple horses, and it just so happened that first horse that I was riding was my Uncle Al's horse, and the second horse that she was riding was my Uncle Gordon's horse. And there was both of my uncles, they passed away just like 2 or 3 years ago, so they were still really close in our heart. Like Kanisha just like felt that connection, like, oh my God, I'm riding my Musham's horse. And she told us they used to look after them in the winter, and then they would come get them in the summer and use them. But when they passed on, nobody come and got them, so they're still there in the sweetgrass. And so it just so happened that we both got that opportunity, and we just got on that excitement of being around horses. And previously that spring, I had gone to a powwow in down south in Montana, and my cousin Alana was there, and she says, I want to introduce you to somebody. And I said, okay. So I went walking around with her, and she introduced me to this man. He had a beaded vest on. He was about my height. He wasn't very much taller than me. And introduced me to his wife. And they were very kind. The first thing he did was he gave me a hug. And I'm like, who is this little old man? And I thought, because he was so kind, It was just like, I was like, oh, cool. And then he gave me a video. He said, go get that video and give it to this lady. And so I took that video, said it was nice to meet them, and so on and so forth. And then I didn't watch it all summer because we're traveling all the time, going to powwows. And so after we went to go ride those horses, I thought, well, I better watch this video. I want to see what it's about, because I really want to know what it's like to be to have an indigenous perspective on horses. I don't want to just go ride them. I want to know more about horses. And so we watched that video, and it just connected with me. Any of you guys watch that video with me? With Philip? The 4 directions, and how there's 4 parts of the horse. The elder, the adult, the adolescent, like that, the youth. Yeah, there was 4 sides to the horse anyways. That video. So I was like, okay, I gotta go meet this person. And so that winter, around February break, me and Kanisha, we took off down there. She had another, I'm always getting her to learn new things. And that time it was to learn how to do quilling. And so we went to go see a quiller, but on the way back, we would have passed through or by Lame Deer, Montana, where this guy lives. Okay, and so we ended up visiting there, met him for coffee, and then first thing he says, come tomorrow, we're having sweat. And so we did. We went and found his place, and there's a lot around this whole journey that we went on. And it was like, for me, it was a self-discovery. Every time I go there, I learn something new about myself. It's kind of like it fast tracks you. I could take a whole lifetime to learn this stuff, or I could be fast tracked and just by saying a few things. Okay, you know how I teach you, like I say, like a few things, and I kind of get it. That's how it is when I go there. And one of the things he did was he would make a stand in one spot and move this way, and he would say, when you get to that point, turn around and come back. And then we'd go back over here. Okay, do it again. Do it again. Every time I went up there, I would turn this way. now you notice how I went the other way, okay? This model here is a right brain model. So you'll see these words linear and circular in there. It's a right brain model. What he was doing was he wanted to see what kind of which way we went, okay? So if you're a linear person, you're gonna go to the left because that's the side of the brain the linear side is on. If you're if you turn right, you're a right brain person and you're gonna go right because your brain is just, you just use that side more often and so you're lean that way. Same with a horse, okay? If you're riding a horse and he tends to go this way, he's not really connected, okay? If he goes this way, then he's like circular, okay? He's connected to Mother Earth. And so, I was linear. I was very linear. You know, he was really hard on me that first day, man. I was kind of like, I don't know what's going on here, but I respect elders, you know? That's how I felt like, you know, I have ever met anybody like that just kind of like wants to teach you so much. He's kind of, that's what he was doing, is wanting me to connect with him. But because I'm a teacher, we follow rules, you know, we're kind of strict with everything. We're a certain way, right? As teachers, we're left-brained. That's what it was. Like, cause I'm always on my computer writing papers, you know. So therefore, I tended to be left-brained. So being in Montana, I had challenges at first, but at the end, like I went to go visit my friend and his family. His name is Ruben Littlehead. Have you ever heard of him? So he lives there too. He lives in Reiki, just like down the road from him, and so we even stayed at his house. And they had a little baby, and his wife slept in, and you know, while she was resting, and he made coffee. We had breakfast together. Then he started putting out his feathers. You want to see my feathers? No. Okay. Like I don't know nothing about math, I don't. I just like I'm learning, right? So he's showing me all his feathers there, eh? Different kind of feathers, feathers from Australia, eagle feathers from Australia. Those are the black tip. Yeah, those kind there, and I'm like, oh wow, nice. And then he goes, do you want to see my wife's feathers? And I kind of, okay. He brought out her box. Him and his boys have one box. She has one box alone. And then when he opened it up, and I saw her fans, same number of fans they have, but she had 6 sets of plumes. Just this tall like that, eh? You know, and for us women, we really, really like those plumes because, you know, you gotta have the best plumes when you're dancing. And that's when the light bulb moment happened for me, in terms of women and how I think about myself, okay? Where I'm from, the women, we cook, we do everything. As a matter of fact, the way I was raised, as soon as my uncles walked in, we had to put tea on, we had to start preparing food, and when they sat down, we served them, and we just kind of stood around and waited for them to finish eating. And if they wanted more, we'd pour more, okay? That's the kind of person, that's how I'm raised, you know? Especially like around food, I know everything to do around food, you know? Hurry up and do it kind of thing. So that's how I was. I was always giving, and then nothing left for me. And that when he showed me how much, like his wife slept in, right? She was looking after her baby. That's all she had to do was look after her baby. He did everything else, like cooking for his visitors and visiting with me. And that's when that light bulb moment came on for me. When I left there, I was just like, oh my God, all these years I just gave up so much of my life. And what did I end up with? Not a whole lot. Because we use the women like that to cook, to clean, to raise the children. Pretty soon we don't have respect for them and we just leave them. Because they're pretty well self-sufficient, right? They can do everything. But that's not how it's supposed to be, you know. Children need both parents there. And so that's what happened to me in my family, is that I ended up being alone and raising those 3 children by myself, okay? But I realized I was so tough. I was so hardened that, I didn't let anybody else in my life because, I was always fighting. I was always working so hard. And so when I came home, some of the things I thought of was Philip, that old man, because remember he was trying to work on me? Like I'm really hard. I'm really hardened. And he was trying to break through. He was trying to break through. That's why he was really working on me. And I didn't know. I'm just like me, myself. So he says, we are from the stars, we are avatars. Just like that movie. Yeah, he watched that movie, and he knew that all those lessons in there were also stuff that we needed to really hear and know about. So I felt happy coming from there, like connected, and that also had that big, huge awareness about myself as a woman, not to let people take advantage of me also as a woman, because I have a voice and I have a role to play. And when I came back, I started sharing this story about this awareness I had about, like I went there to go learn about horses, but I learned more about myself. So this is not so much a horse model, but a people model, okay? So it's for us to learn how to learn about our spirit and to honor that, but also that the horse, we have one spirit, the horse has 4 spirits. They know 4 days ahead of time what's going to happen because they're connected. Like those hooves underneath it, they have those pads. Okay, that's how they're connected to the Mother Earth. They can feel the ground and what's going to happen. Like even dogs say that they've got 2 spirits. They start running around just before a storm. They know there's going to be a storm. So if you get to know a little bit more about how the horse works, then you'll learn more about yourself. And so in this model, we're down here. Let's say, for instance, I have some issues. I have some anger issues. Maybe I have some resentment. Maybe that's holding me back. Like I have to let go and forgive. Like me and their dad, we get along fine now. It's not like we fight anymore. So it's just like when you forgive, you're happier. You're happier. And so when you start living in that moment, I talked to you about being in this time where you're not in yesterday or 5 minutes ago, you're right here with me and not worrying about anything about tomorrow. That's being in time, because a horse is in time, not on time. Okay? It's up to him whenever he's ready to let you work with him. All right. So I brought him more and more up here. There's 4 levels to this horse, and I'll start with this one. Like I said, this is a right brain model. Our young people are geniuses. They're born. If we were to use this model, we would be able to see that our young people are geniuses. And when you work from this model, you're better able to problem solve. You're better able to figure things out. But in this model, it's very rigid. It's rigid. It's just like that. Okay, like either or, black and white. Okay, so I'll go into this first panel. So this is a linear model. It is fear-based, like the residential. Think about the residential school. How much fear they put into your grandparents, your parents' lives about speaking their language, for instance. They would punish them physically if they were caught speaking their language. And then in that movie, the little girl, she had to hang onto her tongue. That's fear-based way of learning. Right? Hierarchy, meaning there's always somebody at the top. Everybody else is at the bottom. Just like the prime minister is at the top and everybody else is at the bottom. Let's say the minister, like the residential school priest, he was the headmaster. Okay?
lunch?